So you find yourself in some sort of SHTF disaster type situation. The power's been out for a couple of weeks. Say it's an EMP. The power's been out for a couple of weeks. The food's running out if it's not already gone. Supplies are running low. Fuel's running out. And a woman and her child come to your front door desperate for food. Do you turn this person away, or do you give them something, a little bit of something to tide them over? This is a question a lot of us have heard probably a couple times, depending on how long we've been in our preparedness journey, and something that a lot of people tend to give this blanket statement of, "No, I'm turning people away." Nobody's coming to my house. We hear it all the time. I've heard it a few times anyway, of talking to people about preparedness, and they're like, "Well, I'm just coming to your house." And a couple of the things I think are, one, no, you're not. And two, how are you going to get here in the first place? But it goes a lot deeper than this cut and dry answer that we tend to go to in our heads, this blanket statement of, "You're not coming to my house when the poop hits the fan." Because there are different situations, these different disaster scenarios, these different types of people we know, friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers, friends of our children, all of these different types of people that aren't those strangers that we tend to think about. And it's also disaster dependent. The EMP type situation that I was talking about, while that is possible, it's not as likely as, there's just a lot more other disaster type situations that we may face. That EMP type situation, it could be the complete stranger or group of complete strangers that end up at your front door. But more likely, say it's an economic collapse where it's some sort of recession and things start to decline, and it's something that takes, a year or so, maybe even longer to unfold, where it does become that economic collapse. Then you're talking about, you're going to have time to, kind of fortify yourself a little bit, but you're talking about those people that have an idea about what you're doing and know that you are a pretty good option when it comes to getting, when they're desperate, they're gonna need to get what they need, and you're a pretty good option for that. So it's really disaster dependent. A lot of people think that preppers are these recluses and that we're gonna hide out and we're hoarders and we're not gonna share anything. But in natural disaster type situations and these small scale disasters, power outages, maybe something lasts a week or so, and we can see that light at the end of the tunnel, we're going to be the people that help out. So I'm not talking about situations like those. I'm talking about situations where we just don't know how long something's going to be, where we have to ration our stuff out anyway, because we're not sure how long the situation's going to last. Something we need to think about is those people that are closer to us. Are we going to be able to turn those people away? Our neighbors, these are the people that live right next to us or live down the street from us. Is it a good idea to turn these people away? And maybe they don't know anything about your preparedness or your prepping at all, but a couple weeks into a situation, they notice that, hey, you seem to be doing just fine. So maybe they come over and they have a conversation with you, talking about how hard their luck's been and all that. And, and you're like, and you have to tell them, you have to make that decision at that point. Do I offer them a little bit of something? Do I, make this story up about how I don't have anything? And what are the odds that they go and they start talking to neighbors? And, instead of having one neighbor at your front door, you've got a group that you have to deal with at this point. Also with neighbors, we need to, and this goes for everybody, any of our acquaintances and all that, we need to think about if they're going to be a benefit or not. Is it going to be a benefit to me to help this person out? Can this person improve my situation? So maybe in the future, if people I don't know come along, is this guy or is this person next door going to be an ally, or are they going to help this person that came along? Family members is also another one we need to think about that isn't that cut and dry, because we all have family members we like. We all have family members that we don't like. We have family members that don't know that we don't like them. So we need to think about those people as well. How many of those people have we told or even just discussed basically about preparedness and having some food storage? How many of those people have actually taken that seriously and begin to do a little bit themselves. Because with family members, and this goes for coworkers and friends and all that stuff, if they know a little bit about what you do, who's to say that they're not talking to other people about what you do? So in some sort of large scale situation, maybe that person ends up at your front door and you have no idea who they are. Now, granted, these people need to know where you live. And my point is, we just never know who it could be. We could say something to a friend that gets, passed along to somebody else. Friends of our children is another one. Friends of our children, even though our kids may act like they're not paying attention to us when we talk about preparedness and prepping, but maybe they have conversation with their friends, and then maybe their friends don't tell their parents, right now, hey, this, all Joe Blow's parents, those guys are preppers. But in a disaster type situation where there's no food on the table, maybe they do mention to their parents, hey, you know what? This guy's parents probably have some stuff and they could probably help us out. And then all of a sudden they end up at your front door. So you just never know. Like I said, there's not a blanket, this person's a complete stranger going to come to my door and I'm going to turn them away. It's a lot more complicated than that. What I do is I go through the contacts in my phone book and kind of list, okay, this person, how possible is it that this person shows up to my door? This person knows that I, have food storage and water storage and all of that. This person has a big mouth. Who have they told about that? This person, is a family member that, Uncle Joe that always comes and gets drunk at Thanksgiving and falls asleep on the couch. These type of people that may end up at your front door. What are you going to do about those situations? And that brings up the whole, the prepper group conundrum, where a lot of us can't have the prepper groups right now because it's just, you can't find the right people. We don't have the time, whatever the reason is. But in a situation like that, it gives you an opportunity to kind of get these people into your support group, people that can help you with security. They can help you with first aid. They can help you with the gardening and stuff like that. So it's weighing that, when you're deciding whether or not you're going to turn somebody away, it's weighing out, are they going to be a benefit to me? Are they going to be a hindrance to me? Am I going to be one of these people looking for a handout if I just let everybody in? So, we can't afford to let, the whole damn neighborhood in. But at the same time, I don't think we can afford to turn every single person away either, because that's just going to create a lot of enemies, and that's going to create the need for that group, that community, that security and all that. So it's a tough situation. I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on all of this. Have you thought about these different types of situations, and what would you do in these types of situations? Would you turn people away? I think the only really good answer in this whole thing is not being there in the first place. Having a bug out location, that's not feasible for a lot of people to just kind of pack up and leave. And some disaster situations, it's not called for to leave your home and bug out. The larger scale ones, maybe that is something that you want to think about doing. But something like an economic collapse, I don't think that's a bug out type situation. So just curious your guys' thoughts on everything. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure and subscribe below. And until the next video, we will talk to everyone later.